Many entrepreneurs just starting out learn the power of bootstrapping. How can I pay as little as possible for the tech tools that I need? Now, when your business hasn't yet earned a single dollar of revenue, that can be super smart. However, at some point in your business's growth, you're gonna need to upgrade both your mindset and your tools. That's why in this video, I wanna share some guidelines to help you future-proof your tech decisions and possibly save you dozens, if not hundreds of hours of time transitioning between platforms as your business continues to grow. In the workspace organization element of the Freedom Evolution method, we talk about putting together your perfect business tech stack, which is an important part of building systems for a scalable business. However, one of the key elements that students often encounter is making decisions about whether to splurge on a fancy and powerful tech tool that can grow with their business long into the future, or whether to keep it tight and stick with the cheap or freemium versions in order to save a little bit of moolah. Whether we're talking about email service providers, project management tools, or CRM programs, a smart, visionary CEO knows that transitioning from one platform to another is a huge project and a headache. Sometimes it does become a necessary evil, but often that means signing yourself and your team up for a major adventure in porting data between platforms, setting up new integrations with the other tools in your tech stack, and updating your SOPs, or as I prefer to call them, how-to helpers, to walk through the same processes on a new platform. That's why I want to share with you 4 guidelines to help you make confident decisions about your tech tools and ensure that you're considering not just the present, but the future needs of your business when you make tech decisions. Guideline number 1, better to upsize and grow into them. I've discovered that tech tools are actually quite a lot like kids' clothes. When in doubt, size up a bit. Before I was a mama, I definitely made the mistake of buying clothes for friends' kids that were way too small, purely based on the size saying 18 months. And I think kids around that age. I have also experienced the brilliance of more experienced mamas who have wisely bought clothes for my kids that were a size too big when received, but it meant we got to use them longer. The same thing is true for the tech tools in your business. Can you make it work to stick with the freemium or entry-level version of that email service provider when you're just getting started? Sure. But what happens if you quickly outgrow it and feel stuck? Businesses, like kids, keep growing, sometimes quicker than you expected. And the last thing you want to deal with when your business just experienced a big boom is an urgent platform transfer because you've outgrown one of your core tools, like an email service provider. While you definitely don't want to blow your budget on the souped up mega version, if your email list still doesn't have 100 people on it, the wise, visionary CEO might choose to go with an entry-level version of a platform that can scale with their growth, even if it means paying a bit of money each month, rather than the free version of a platform that you'll quickly outgrow. Here's my rule of thumb. If you can imagine growing into the new or upgraded features in the next roughly 6 to 18 months, just go for the upgrade. However, if you may not need those additional features for a few more years, save the money and cross that upgrade bridge once you get to it. Guideline number 2, plan for your growing team. Even if you are currently a solo entrepreneur right now, consider how this tool will work once you bring on team members, because I can almost guarantee that you will do that eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later. Some tools are best when you have one login for the company's account and you share that login amongst the team members that will need to use that specific tool. So basically everyone's using a single login. For instance, my Canva account is shared between me, my graphic designer, and my VA. We can each access and create new images whenever it's needed for the business. We all have access to all the designs that have been created, regardless of who started the work. For other tools, it's important to ensure that every member of the team gets a personalized login in order to use the tool effectively. So for something like Asana or Slack, where communications or task assignments are specific to the individual. You'll want to clarify this situation in your research because some tools will have a per seat charge. So you'll want to think about what the pricing will be for your business given its current size and how or whether that would change as your business continues to grow. Or, even more crucial, is this a tool that's capable of being used with a multi-person team rather than purely solo? Assume growth, even if you haven't yet experienced it. Guideline number 3, consider current workflows and use cases. When choosing a new tech tool, the most important consideration is how this tool will support or simplify your current workflows. How will it make certain tasks easier or even automated? If you've been doing something manually in a spreadsheet, then will this tool be able to save you steps, avoid manual mistakes, or make the same outcome occur automatically? It will? Rock on! That one's a winner! Will you need to upgrade the account in order to access additional features that might save you time, effort, or avoid errors? Sometimes you look at the features of a tech tool and you can immediately tell that it is a fancy powerhouse. And while those features appear amazing, you know you're not going to invest the time or the learning curve to use all of those bells and whistles right now. That's fine, but sometimes you'll see a feature upgrade that makes the extra money worth it. For example, I've used Asana for my project management tool for probably over a decade at this point. And for much of that time, the free version was just fine. It did everything I really needed. However, about 2 years ago, I decided that having access to the timeline view, which is essentially a Gantt chart for larger project planning, as well as the ability to create task dependencies that clarify the workflow of who's waiting on which tasks for my growing team, were both features that were worth upgrading to a paid account in order to unlock. I recognize that when planning course launches, an example of a use case, or just managing the task flow for creating these videos, another use case, the ability to define those task interdependencies would make the flow of work easier and more obvious for my team. So take a few moments before you make a key tech tool decision to think through exactly how and where this tool will fit into your business's current workflows and use cases, and how they may grow and change in the near future, because that might help you decide which tool is the best fit or which feature tier is appropriate for you now versus later. Guideline number 4, always check the integrations. In the world of digital business, our tools need to be able to connect to each other. So many tasks can be eliminated or made automatic or dramatically simplified when your tools are able to play nicely together. So, whenever you're choosing a new piece for your business's tech stack puzzle, make sure to dig deep, ask questions, and get curious about how that piece will connect to or fit with the other pieces that you've already committed to. When we chose our course platform, MemberVault, one of the major pros was that it was already designed to work particularly well with ActiveCampaign for a variety of different automations. ActiveCampaign was already our email service provider. Bonus! While I think we're still using only a fraction of the existing automations and integrations between those two tools, Knowing that there's strong support and room to grow between these two important pieces of our tech stack made that decision even easier while we were doing those comparisons. Now, I am sure that we could think of many more guidelines to help you future-proof your business's tech stack. But if you keep these 4 in mind, then you're more likely to make confident and strong decisions as your business continues to grow. If you're realizing that it's truly time to get your business's systems whipped into better shape, and you're tired of feeling like you're flailing around and flying by the seat of your pants when setting up core productivity and business systems, then you are ready to head over to chosencourse.com/I want more and dive in to my free 5-part video training series, The Road to Inspired Action. That's where you'll learn why it's time to throw out your SMART goals and annual plans, what it takes to consistently hire awesome team members, and how to build the backbone system that every business needs to scale and grow into the future. Are you ready for the next chapter, Freedom Lover? Let's get started.